Hello and welcome to this walkthrough of a beta version of the AgMIP Impacts Explorer, which is created by the Agricultural Model Intercomparison and Improvement Project, or AgMIP. For those who don't know, AgMIP is an international community of experts and stakeholders working on real-time and future projections of risks and vulnerabilities in the agricultural sector, as well as looking at the many implications for food security. To understand these challenges, we really need to look at multidisciplinary, multi-scale, multi-model approaches that are capable of tracking complexities in our interconnected food systems. The Impacts Explorer is designed to be an interface for presentation and exploration of AgMIP results and was launched as part of an effort led by the UK Department for International Development, which was seeking to understand the interacting influences of climate change, socioeconomic development, and adaptation technologies on future farm systems and rural populations in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. Results from AgMIP global gridded crop models, site-based model networks, global economic analyses, and other AgMIP initiatives will also eventually be presented through the Impacts Explorer. But what we present here is the initial presentation of results, visualizations, and capabilities, rather than going into in-depth scientific explanation of the new findings. So we hope to use this walkthrough to let you know what you can do with the Impacts Explorer, and hope that you'll all help us as we continue to provide updates and fine-tune this tool moving forward. The goal of the AgMIP Impacts Explorer is to reach stakeholders at the level of expertise that they are interested in looking at the results. The Impacts Explorer was designed to have 3 different levels of interaction. The first is this regional summary level, where we ask big questions and display main messages and impacts discussions related to each region's integrated assessment. Here we're looking at how climate change, socioeconomic development, and adaptation shape the future of regional agriculture. The second level is a spatial dashboard for more expert users who want to actually explore the impacts, vulnerability, and adaptation of farming system using maps and infographics of key findings, allowing comparisons across different regions. The final level is the Data Explorer, which accesses, filters, and creates custom figures from regional integrated assessment outputs. This would be for members of the scientific community or expert stakeholders who want to get their hands dirty and actually go in and look at the data, manipulating it and creating different visualizations that could help them understand not only what is happening, but the potential opportunities to adapt. Overall, the idea behind the Impacts Explorer would be to meet stakeholders who find this web page on their own, but also as a really nice interface for AgMIP experts and related scientists to sit with stakeholders and go through the results in a way that would allow the stakeholders to really understand and create some ownership in terms of the visualizations that are being created. The main approach that we use within AgMIP is described in this methodology tab at the top here. The methodology section gives you an idea of what AgMIP is, the approaches that we're taking for this integrated assessment, combining climate, socioeconomic development, and adaptation changes. You can click through the various tabs here to learn about various types of models, some plain English explanations designed for non-expert users. You can also look at the scenarios and adaptations that we look at, both in terms of future climate scenarios, but also representative agricultural pathways, or RAPs, that tell us about the future of agricultural system development in any given region and how that fits into the context of larger agricultural system changes through markets and other influences. You can also learn about AgMIP's approach to engage with stakeholders, which was key to the project right from the start in terms of working with stakeholders to understand the key questions and scenarios and policy initiatives that we might want to consider. So coming back to the AgMIP Impacts Explorer's homepage, we're going to go through some of the key elements of the Impacts Explorer, and for that we're going to actually start with the spatial dashboard. When you click on the spatial dashboard link, what you'll see is the various places that AgMIP has conducted regional integrated assessments and where further results are available. You'll notice that we have 5 regions in South Asia, Pakistan, Northern India, and Southern India, as well as locations across Sub-Saharan Africa, ranging from Senegal, Ghana, Kenya, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. AgMIP, of course, is working in all parts of the world, but these are the examples that are currently shared within AgMIP. If we click on one of these regions, we'll start here with the Nioro, Senegal location. You'll see infographics presenting the overview of major findings and results for this region. Before we get into the infographics on the left here, I wanted to highlight some of the features of the map on the right. If you come up to the overlay maps, you'll see that we have several different opportunities to see how these systems and these locations fit into the broader context. So in this case, we're looking at population density, and we can see here the legend on the right, but we can also look at other interesting piece of information. For example, where is the actual maize grown in this portion of the world from the Global Yield Gap Atlas maps. There are several different options here that can be explored, and this is the way that we will eventually show more gridded results. On the left for Nioro, Senegal, you'll see that we are looking at farm systems that are smallholder rain-fed systems growing maize, millet, and peanut. The climate out to the 2050s features conditions that are 1 to 3 degrees Celsius warmer than today, with variable precipitation changes, some scenarios being drier and some scenarios being wetter. Overall impacts seem to be negative for maize, with yield changes below 0 for maize, and millet being some positive and some negative, whereas peanut yields actually showed some positive responses. And here we also are looking at adaptations using heat-tolerant cultivars and narrower planting windows, as well as some other changes in the development pathways. So rather than going through the whole detail on this location, what I want to actually highlight is that this same set of information can be found for other regions. So let's zoom over to the Pakistan site in southern Punjab. And when I click on this, you'll note that the infographic adapts to this new condition. Looking at the Pakistan infographics and the results that we have from regional integrated assessment in southern Punjab, you can see that here we're looking at farms that range from small to large, looking at irrigated cotton wheat cropping systems. The climate here is increasing in temperature by 2.5 to 3.8 degrees, and most of the projections suggest drier conditions than today. When we run these through multiple crop models, we see a negative impact on cotton yields and stable or slight declines in wheat yields, while our adaptation package of improved management, seeds, water, conservation, insurance, and mechanization lead to benefit in terms of farm income. And you can see the direct climate impacts on yields here. If I mouse over, you can see the specific numbers in terms of a mean of 6.9% decline in bread wheat, while cotton has a mean loss of nearly 50%. So in this system, cotton is much more dramatically affected than bread wheat. Without adaptation, there are losses of more than 20%, but with adaptation, the actual benefit of the adaptation package would increase farm incomes by about 25%. So we can also see these here in terms of the farms that would be negatively impacted by climate change. In this case, a median of 74% farms would be negatively impacted in a future with climate change compared to one without. And adaptation package, as described above, would be beneficial for 58% of farms. Now you can see information about impacts in terms of specific climate projections, vulnerability of farms under both green and gray road agricultural pathways, which are described here with this question mark if you want to learn more information. And you can also look at the adaptation tab to see the specific benefits of the adaptation package as designed. And if you want to see these all together, you can expand the infographic to see what is going on in Punjab. And if you want to learn more, you can click on this Read More tab, which brings you to a more descriptive version of what is happening in Punjab and a summary report. Now, actually, all of these summary reports are available if we click on the Regions tab here, and this brings us to that level 1, more narrative-based approach. And here you can see cards for many different regions that we've examined. As an example, if we click on Kenya, you can see the maize systems across Kenya. And here at the top is the summary of the farming system, the climate impacts, the yield impacts, and then the economics of vulnerability and adaptation for this region. And you can click through here to get the narrative overview of the results across these regions. You can look more at the farming system, climate change projections, impacts on yield, vulnerability of farms, the potential role of adaptation, as well as what we are doing specifically in East Africa to engage stakeholders in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and other regions. And if you want to learn more about what's going on in this area, here are the list of affiliated institutions, key references, and the generous support provided by DFID. In addition to the overview approach showed here under the regional tab, if we click on the data exploration tool, you get direct access to the regional integrated assessment results across the various regions. Here we're going to begin by looking at Nioro in Senegal. And the way it's designed is you can compare across crops, across regions, the many different places that AgMIP has done work and that is currently posted. You can select different crops, and you can select indicators, both biophysical indicators like the relative yield changes, as well as economic indicators like the rate of adoption, net returns on the farms, poverty levels, or the percentage of farms that are vulnerable. You can also go into more detail in terms of the climate uncertainties if you so desire. Once you select all of these different levels of detail, you're able to filter information depending on which farming system is used, whether it's the current farming system in practice, whether it is the green or the gray roads of agricultural development, and the associated emissions pathways that go with those futures. You can also look at the systems as they respond with and without adaptation. The data exploration tool has a very large number of potential combinations that can be explored, and this will help users create their own graphics and interrogate the data as they so desire. When a graphic is found that is of particular interest, you can download it as a PNG, and you can also chart the data specifically in the table form. So together, the AgMIP Impacts Explorer provides users and stakeholders with a very nice interface to learn about the main messages of AgMIP and the regional integrated assessments, to learn about how different regions are responding to the various elements of climate change, socioeconomic development, and adaptation packages that may be proposed, and also get hands-on experience manipulating and interrogating the data and model outputs as they come from the regional integrated assessments. This is currently the beta version of the AgMIP Impacts Explorer, and we are looking forward to hearing from the community, both within AgMIP and the broader scientific and stakeholder community, about how we can improve this product as we continue to update, add more results, fine-tune the presentation and overall experience of the Impacts Explorer, and in the longer run, add more and more AgMIP results and initiatives to make this really a go-to place to learn about agricultural challenges and opportunities in the future. Thank you so much.